In the modern world, survival follows a simple logic. If you're large, you're safer. If you're fast, you escape. If you're hidden, you endure. But in the prehistoric world, none of that mattered, because there was no safe position in the food chain. Not at the top, not in the middle, not even at the bottom. Every organism lived inside a system designed to consume itself. We tend to imagine the food chain as a ladder. Plants at the bottom, herbivores above them, predators at the top. But prehistoric ecosystems didn't behave like ladders. They behaved like pressure chambers, and pressure doesn't flow upward. It crushes everything equally. Let's start at the top. The apex predators, the ones people assume had it easy. Large theropods, animals like Tyrannosaurus, Giganotosaurus, and Spinosaurus were powerful, yes, but they lived under constant risk. Their size did not protect them, it trapped them. A predator that large had one job: eat. And failing at that job meant death. Unlike modern predators, prehistoric apex hunters couldn't rely on stable prey populations. Herds migrated unpredictably. Climate shifts altered vegetation suddenly. A drought in one region could wipe out prey for hundreds of kilometers. Missing a few meals wasn't inconvenient. It was fatal, and hunting was dangerous. Prey fought back hard. Large herbivores were not passive. They were armored, horned, spiked, club-tailed. Fossils show predators with crushed ribs, broken teeth, shattered skulls. Some survived, some didn't. And a predator that broke a leg was already dead. There was no rehabilitation, no recovery period. If you couldn't hunt, you starved. Now move down the food chain. Medium-sized predators. These animals lived in the most dangerous position of all. Too small to dominate, too large to hide. They competed with apex predators for food, and they were prey to those same animals. They couldn't outrun everything. They couldn't overpower everything. They existed in constant tension. Many fossils show evidence of cannibalism, not as an exception, as a strategy. In times of scarcity, predators turned on their own species. Weak individuals disappeared. Juveniles vanished. Injured adults were consumed. This wasn't cruelty, it was math. Now let's go lower. Herbivores. The majority of dinosaur species. People assume herbivores had safer lives, but the fossil record says otherwise. Herbivores lived under constant threat. They had no moment of safety, even while eating, even while sleeping. Predators hunted in daylight, at night, during storms, during migrations. Many herbivores show healed bite marks, meaning they were attacked and escaped. Barely, but escape came at a cost. Injuries slowed them, made them vulnerable, marked them for future attacks. Herds helped, but herds also attracted predators. Large concentrations of food are impossible to hide. And herds didn't protect everyone. They protected the healthy, the fast, the lucky. Juveniles were expendable. Bone beds reveal mass deaths of young animals, trampled, starved, eaten. Being born wasn't an advantage, it was a countdown. Now we reach the bottom. Small animals, insects, early mammals, reptiles. Surely they were safe. No, they lived in a world designed to erase them. Small animals faced predation from every direction. From above, from below, from within their own species. They were eaten by dinosaurs, by birds, by reptiles, by fish, by each other. And unlike large animals, they had no margin for error. A cold night could kill them. A flood could drown entire populations. A single fire could wipe out generations. Even hiding wasn't safe. Burrows flooded, vegetation burned, shelter collapsed. Now let's talk about something almost never mentioned: disease. Pathogens don't care about size. They don't care about dominance. They move silently, relentlessly. Parasites existed long before humans. Blood-feeding insects, internal worms, bacterial infections. In dense ecosystems, disease spreads fast, and prehistoric ecosystems were incredibly dense. Fossils show bone infections consistent with long-term illness. Animals lived sick. They hunted sick. They migrated sick until they didn't. Now add environmental instability. Volcanic eruptions release toxic gases. Ash smothered plants. Waterways became acidic. Entire ecosystems could collapse within years, sometimes months. There was no warning, no adaptation period. Animals didn't evolve toward comfort. They evolved toward survival under constant failure. That's why prehistoric life looks extreme. Why animals grew massive armor. Why predators evolved crushing jaws instead of slicing teeth. Why everything was overbuilt. Because failure meant extinction. Not eventually, immediately. The food chain wasn't a hierarchy, it was a meat grinder. Even apex predators weren't safe from death by starvation. Even herbivores weren't safe in numbers. Even small animals weren't safe in hiding. There was no safe niche, only temporary survival. This is why mass extinctions happen. Not because ecosystems were fragile, but because they were already operating at maximum stress. When catastrophe arrived, asteroids, climate collapse, volcanism, there was nothing left to absorb the shock. The prehistoric food chain didn't fail. It snapped. And that's the truth most documentaries avoid. Dinosaurs didn't live in a world of balance. They lived in a world of constant pressure. And pressure doesn't care who you are. If you made it to the end, you survived the food chain. Leave a bone in the comments. Next time, we're exposing something even darker. The most dangerous animals weren't predators. They were the ones that killed without teeth.